My biggest obsession within fly tying is the Catskill-style dry flies. Flies from the late 1800s evolved from the vice of Theodore Gordon. Much has been said about the Catskill-style dry flies, but to me, it's much more than the choice of materials, proportions, or the patterns. It's also about the people, their stories, and the area, the charmed circle of the Catskills. One of the person that has inspired me the most is actually still with us today and still tying flies. Pretty early in my career as a fly tyer, I got this obsession with the Catskill style dry flies, and I got my sticky ones on this, the Dette by Eric Leiser. In this book, I find not only really nice, interesting patterns, but I also learned to know the family Dettes, and at the end, I also found my new hero. My hero is the daughter of Walt and Winnie Dette, Mary. So to celebrate my hero, I made my own Catskill-style dry fly, the Mary Dette. Now I know some of my Catskill fanatic friends don't really approve me calling it a Catskill fly, but I'm both big enough and at a safe distance enough to dare. So, if you see this Mary, here's to you, and I really hope to see you one day.
First thing to do is attach the thread on the hook, and I start my thread just behind the hook eye and go down to half the hook shank and then back again and stop at the point of 1/4 of the hook shank. This will now give us a really good foundation for the wing to be mounted on. Now it's time to start with the wing. And for the wing on this fly we use teal flank feathers. And this is how they look when they're lying in the bag when you buy them. And here's how they look when you have put the kettle on with some water and have the feather resting in the steam from the water. And here I have two similar feathers that I think is really nice, barred and everything, and really nice even tips. So here are the feathers for the fly, and now I'm ready to prepare the feather. And I do that by taking the feather between my thumb and finger here and stroke the fibers back, which will leave me about 7 millimeters of wing, which is suitable for this size 14 I'm going to tie. You can of course use less fiber if you want a thinner wing, but I really like my wing kind of meaty, so this is what I will go for. And now it's time to continue with the wing. So we put the two feathers together with the shiny sides toward each other, and of course see to that they are the same length. And now we're going to pack them together. So I have them in my left hand, and then I take on the upper side here and with a kind of firm grip here, and I fold it down there, and I move my fingers towards here, and then I take on the underside and do the same. And as you see, I continue moving my thumb and finger up like that and that, and then when I come to this point I do like this, which will leave me a nice little wing there. Now it's time to attach the wing on the hook. So we start with measuring up the length of the wing, and I want the wing that's kind of longer than the hook shank, something like that. So I take my fingers forward and press down the material down to the hook, and a loose wrap, take the thread between your fingers, wrap around, then up, and then you put pressure on the thread and the hook and tighten tighten it up. And then make a few wraps. Again, pressure on the thread and the hook, and tighten again. One more, tighten. So now we have the wing on the hook, and make sure the material is on the upper side of the hook. And now, as we're going to use a peccary body on this one, we need to start to think about the taper. So I will use the excess material here to help me with that. So I just put some pressure to the material, not too hard because then I will destroy the wing there, but some pressure there and lift it up and cut. This will make me have more material there than there, and that will help me to get a nice even taper. And now take your thread and cover the excess material, kind of hard wraps here, hard tight, so there you can see the taper growing, and then back again, and leave the thread just behind the wing. There we go. And now we're going to raise the wing by lifting it up and put some thread in front of it. It's hard to say how many wraps because that kind of depends on the material and the thread you're using. So I just lift the wing like that, and I work in the thread just in front. Take a look there. I'll have one more, two, there we go. And now the wing is lifted. Next step is to see to that the wing gets separated. And as you can see, as the way I put the wing together, they have a slightly small curve here and here, so you can actually see on which side the fibers is supposed to be. But as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to get them perfect, so I just play with them a little bit, something like that, and then put pressure, force them from each other like that. There we go. I'm kind of satisfied with that. There we go. And now we're going to divide it with a thread. So the first thing is to just put a figure of 8. Make sure to hold the wing like that. And then I take both wings, put them back together, and wrap in front. There we go. Now it's divided. And now we're going to attach the wing from the underside, and I'll do that by go with the thread behind the wing. You need to hold the wing there and around the base, and then I have to release the wing and right down behind the wing. Or again, put pressure to the wing and tighten up a little bit, and then go up behind the other wing, around the base, release the wing so you can go around it and take pressure to the wing again, and up on the upper side of the hook and down on the other side. And again, take both wings, put them together, fold them backwards, and a wrap in front, which will secure the operation you just did. So now the wing is attached from underneath, and now it's time to secure it on the upper side as well. And again, a figure 8, but around the bases. So in between the wings there, hold the wing, tight wrap around the base, in between the wings again, and then around the other wing there, like that. Put pressure, and then under the hook, take both wings back again, and wrap in front to secure. And then play with the fiber slightly. There we go. Now we have a nice wing. Start working with the rest of the fly. So we'll transport the thread down to where we will tie the tail in. And that's at the point where the hook starts to bend. And for the tail of this fly, I use hair from the moose, from the mane of the moose, and here I have chosen 3 fibers. The thinner, you can see on the moose mane that there are thicker and thinner fibers. These are like the thinner ones, at least for this size of fly. So the first step is to choose 3 of these and then align them so they are the same length. And then I take them between my thumb and my finger in the left hand. Just see to tie them in on the upper side of the hook. Just 2 really loose wraps there, so that I can check the length of the tail. That's kind of too long, so I just take a firm grip of the tail material here, and I loosen the tension of the thread and just push the material forward a little bit more. There we go. And I want the length of the tail to be like the length of the hook. And then we cover the material like that, and then we go back down again, just to where we tied in the tail. There we go. And now you can see we had got some help also from the tail material to even up the tape a little bit. Now, as you can see, I have cut the excess of the moose mane bits there, and now it's time to take the thread down to where the tail was tied in, and it's time to tie in the body material, which is peccary. And now here you can see the black, the white, the black. This will make really nice segmentation, and so I will cut it like there because I wanted to start with the black. So I attach the peccary on the underside of the body with I tie it in kind of an angle, so I won't put too much pressure on it for its first wrap, and leave the thread just behind the wing there. And then I always use a hackle, a leaded hackle plier. Here I have the really nice CNF one, which has really good tension in its jaws to hold the material so it won't slide away from me. So I attach that into the material there, and I take it easy the first wrap here and start winding the body material here in very, very tight wraps, edge to edge. And here you can see the body growing, the really nice colors coming to life on the body of the fly. There you go. And then I do my best to secure the peccary fiber underneath the hook.
release the hackle plier and cover that. There we go. And then I cut this excess there. And now it's time to secure the body. I don't think it will break, but anyway, I use UV resin. This is the Deer Creek Diamond Fine that I think is really good because it leaves a untacky body. And to apply the UV resin, I use a brush that comes with a kit. And I use a very, very small amount. And make sure it covers all of the body. Now it's kind of hard doing this with a film camera in front of me, but imagine if I didn't have the camera here, I could get some help with the rotation of the vise to really come all over the body. Here we go. And then we want to cure the glue, or resin, sorry. And I do that with this lamp here. Like that. There we go. And now it's time for the hackle from the fly. And here I've chosen 2 feathers with a fiber length 1.5 to 2 times the hook gape. This is what I like. I kind of have 1.5. That was what I like. And here you can see how I prepared the feather by I cutted a few fibers here, and that's to make the feather get attached to the hook a little bit better. And then I have ripped off a few fibers here, so the first turn of the hackle is with a bare stem to the hook, and that minimizes the problem with getting very many fibers sticking out backwards, which I don't want. And for this fly I have 2 feathers with the same fiber length, of course. So I put both of them together like this, and then put them on the underside of the hook and attach. There we go. Then we cut the stems. And then we take the thread to where we want the fly to end. So there it's covered. And again, I use my CNF hackle plier. For the first hackle, I straighten it up like 90 degrees and start winding the hackle. I don't really count the wraps because I have already decided how much hackle the fly should have by the position of the wing and the body. But on this one it was 3 behind and 2 in front with the first. And now I hold it up and I will secure the stem with 3 wraps of thread, not 2, because I have done this a couple of times, and when I do 2 it sometimes slips out of position. We don't want that. And then the next hackle. There we go. Start winding. Try not to catch too many fibers or the wing.
There we go. You can of course use just one feather, but I think you will have a much more nice hackle with 2 feather. And I don't end them at the exact same position. 2, 3 wraps. And then loose the hackle plier. And now I take the whole package of feathers here, fibers, feathers, whatever, and a few wraps ahead of that before I cut the hackle. And then finish the fly with a whip finisher. And I usually do 2 whip finishes. Tighten, and then 1 more. Put my thumb there, it's easier to put some tension to the thread. And then we cut off the thread. There we go. So here's our Maridette ready for action.